Satyam. This word means that one should not distort the truth for some personal interest. In the Vedic literature, there are some difficult passages, but the meaning and the purpose should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. That is the process for understanding the Vedas. Shruti means that one should hear from the authority. One should not construe some interpretation for his personal interest. There are so many commentaries on Bhagavad Gita that misinterpret the original text. The real import of the word should be presented, and that should be learned from a bona fide spiritual master. Distortion is the default feature of the unconditioned or of the conditioned mind. Because the principle is that obsession on personal or obsession of personal interest will make a person blind, and a blind man will never understand the truth properly. So, so rather it is a function of mind to distort things. Because of this distortion, the living entity considers the temporary as the permanent. Asatyera satya karimani. So on one side is this functionality of the mind which distorts. On the other side, we see that the injunctions of The injunctions of the scriptures, on the other side, we are seeing that the injunctions of the scriptures are very subtle. Dharmasya tattvam nihita guhayam mahajano ye nagata pantha. The precepts and injunctions of the Shastras are very, very subtle. Therefore, the Shastras recommend, because the precepts and injunctions of the Shastras are very, very subtle, Mahajano ye nagata pantha. That is why one one has to follow the Mahajanas, the authorities in the line of spiritual understanding. The same is being explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. That one should not misconstrue a hodgepodge meaning of the injunctions of the Shastras, but rather one should learn from the spiritual master. So therefore, this gives us the beautiful understanding of Satyam, that truth is actually absolute. Truth is existing. It's not that you and me can actually uh, uh, it's not that you and me uh, can create our own image of what is called as truth. So the point to note is that truth is therefore universal, and therefore truth has to be mined out. Is it not? From the various situations, the truth has to be mined out. This goes to understand, or this goes to say that that the default, the Shastras, the directives of the Shastras, now what they are saying, that what is an individual's understanding and what is an individual's compilation, that has nothing to give and take with truth. Is it not? This is true for everything. So truth is a universal concept. Truth is a universal concept. And therefore, there needs to be a lot of tuning. So nothing in this world can be taken at a face value, at what it appears to be, at whatever the signals with the senses are giving us. Nothing can be taken at that value, because that is very much imbued with personal interest. Because false ego is all about personal interest, and false ego forms the root of material existence. So everything which comes to the soul, interface the soul, is imbued with false ego. And therefore a lot of tuning is required. So therefore, to understand things properly, we need we need a process. You know, understanding is not a one-shot phenomena. To understand things, we need the process, and that process happens, or that process is triggered by following the spiritual master. by tuning our frequency to the radiation of the spiritual master. Then we can understand things properly. Otherwise, our understandings are quite noisy. The noise of personal interest. It gets mixed. So we can understand Krishna consciousness is very deep. The deeper we are, the better off we are. That is Krishna consciousness. And the more superficial we are, the uh, the more superficial we are, the more entangled we are. So in Krishna consciousness, every move is quite substantial. And every move requires uh, earnest and sincere Sharanagati. Like say for example, this is true for everything. This is true for say for example, relationships. The modern day idea of relationships or intimacy in relationships is frivolousness. Frivolousness is the barometer of relationship. Whether it is so, if we're ready to chill out, have some uh, uh, casual talks. That's the idea of relationship. But in Krishna consciousness, that is not at all so. In Krishna consciousness, the idea of relationships is quite deep. Radhanath Maharaj explains genuine relationships are built over 1 decade, 2 decade, 3 decade of investment. So the idea of relationships is based in Krishna consciousness on Krishna Katha, on service to spiritual master. Serving together, discussing Krishna Katha together. That's what builds the relationship, not frivolousness, not chit-chatting, frivolous, not cheap. So Krishna consciousness, everything is, everything is based on Sharanagati. Based on Sharanagati. We take shelter of Krishna. That genuine sincerity of taking shelter of Krishna will make us perceive things properly. Now one may say that okay, then that means it's a difficult proposal. That means what we see is not seeing, what we hear is not hearing. Is it not? That's true. That's true. Because what we see is not uh, 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 what we see is not the no and then quantum mechanics uses the terms nominal and phenomenal. Bhagavad Gita also uses these terms. What we see is not the nominal reality, the phenomenal reality, because it is perceived with perception. It is mixed with perception, and that is where the error comes in. So averaging the multiple phenomenal reality, we can get some idea of nominal reality. But whereas if one tunes to a bona fide and a spiritual master, then because of his depth in Krishna consciousness, and now the reality which is coming through him is going to be nominal. The error is not going to be there. So therefore the Sangha of Vaishnavas cleans the error. The Sangha of Vaishnavas cleans the error. And a sincere following cleans the error. So Sharnagati is not as difficult as setting right the mess which the mental perceptions create. That's a simple punchline which every sadhaka should understand. Sharnagati is not difficult. Sharnagati is easy. No. What is difficult is to repair the horrible mess which the mental conditionings create. So that means that based on perceptions, we take wrong stands and wrong decisions and wasting our valuable human life. But again, not just wasting, creating further problems to solve, to solve those problems is going to be increasingly tough. That's the point, is it not? Therefore, you see, in general, as life proceeds, life goes out of the hands of people. They're just not able to make any sense of what's happening around. Is it not? So why? Because it's all because of mental conditioning. Therefore, one should be a seer of truth. Is it not? A lover of truth. Like, therefore, that I want to mine out the truth. Is it not? And the truth can only be mined out. Which Anagati? Beautiful. Yes, Krishna is called as absolute truth, but even day-to-day truth is amazing. To be able to mine out things in its actual setting. Actual setting is going to be universally applicable, whereas perception is not at all universally applicable. Let's read ahead. Akarodha means to check anger. Even if there is provocation, one should be tolerant. For once one becomes angry, his whole body becomes polluted. Anger is product of mode of passion and lust. So one who is transcendentally situated should check himself from anger. Apaisunam means one should not find fault with others or correct them unnecessarily. Of course, to call a thief is not fault finding. But to call an honest person a thief should be is very much offensive for one who is making advancement in spiritual life. Re means that one should be very modest and must not perform some act which is abominable. Achapalam, determination, means that one should not be agitated or frustrated in some attempt. There may be failure in some attempt, but one should not be very sorry for it. He should make progress with patience and determination. That is achapalam. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada is talking about Krodha. Even if there is provocation, one should be very tolerant. As soon as anger comes, uh, the whole body becomes polluted. Anger is a function of expectations. Anger is a function of expectations. And expectations are completely in our own hands. Expectations are completely in our own hands. So, uh, so yes, if there is no expectation from someone, then there is no point of becoming angry, or there's no question of anger, is it not? There is no question of even thinking about the other person. There's no expectation about, is it not? So, so our acharyas give a nice formula. Our acharyas are telling, transform your expectation of. So we generally have expectation of receiving service from others. Is it not? Receiving contribution of others. So now the acharyas in Shastra, they explain, okay, they transform this expectation into giving service to others. Is it not? So giving service, no problem, anybody will accept. Is it not? If we have 100 rupees we want to give to somebody, everybody will accept. Is it not? Devotee, non-devotee, everybody will accept. Child will also accept. Is it not? If you want to give prasad, most of the people accept. Some people still don't accept. Is it not? Prasad. 100 rupee note, everybody will accept. Is it not? Right. So giving service, there is a lot of scope. And no, receiving service, the scope is very less. It is a lot of conditions apply. Is it not? So anger is related to expectations actually. Uh, anger is related to expectations. Now we may say that okay, there are certain, because we are small in finitesimal, uh, from tattva point of view, there are some very basic needs which one needs. I mean, so no individual can on his own do everything. Sometimes that question may come, or sometimes may come, okay, that we need some help to do some service. So the point is that now, so in this regard, actually, now we uh, in this regard, one of the things which is important is to actually, uh, in that regard, we can say anger or is a game of expectations. But actually, anger also depends upon, what do we make as our default? What do we make as our default? So, say for example, if our default is okay, we want to become a temple president. That is the default, for serving Krishna only. But that default, that okay, I am president, I have to do management, then you need people under you. You want to do management. Then expectation comes, then people should follow also because you are the president, like that. So, so when that doesn't happen or there is discrepancy in that, then a person will be very disturbed. Is it not? he will not be able to sustain. So, so therefore, you see, now if you tune our default, one can be, peaceful. So suppose one's default is, one default is, uh, so suppose one defaults is that, his default setting is okay. I can serve Krishna by chanting the holy names, by reading, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. If that is default, a person is very much stable. Is it not? Because then there is no expectation. Is it not? The holy name nobody can snatch away from us. Bhagavatam nobody can snatch away from us. Is it not? Like that? So then one is happy. Then one can be. So that is the default. Then it is possible to to tune expectations. Is it not? Because that is the default. That okay. Say for example, person is preaching. Now in preaching, somebody thinks, I am a senior preacher. If you feel you're senior preacher, then you will define codes that okay, for me to give class, I at least need 50 people, 40 people, 20 people. And there's a problem. So therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is telling that you develop the attitude that okay, I need to speak Krishna Katha, etc. That's what the acharyas are telling. And you tune your default setting to okay, I need to speak Krishna Katha, otherwise my tongue becomes poisonous, toxic, etc. Toxic transformations. So to purify my tongue and my existence, I need to speak Krishna Katha. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is telling, now what should be audience? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is telling that one should be eager to speak Krishna Katha, even if it is four walls around. Even if it is four walls around. So if that is the case, then one can be very easily happy. Is it not? One can be very easily happy. But if that is not the case, then it's going to be troublesome. It's going to be troublesome. The journey will be very troublesome. So anger will come. Anger will come. Like that. So therefore, the point to note is that so in that regard, say for example, again, say for example, uh, say for example, say preaching one can do, preaching is easy. So the baseline of preaching is what? The book distribution, nobody is stopping us, is it not? We can go anywhere in the world to book distribution, no problem, is it not? But suppose you want to do college preaching, then in that, again, then you need to have some blessings, permission, so some game of expectations comes in, is it not? So, so this is the point. Every devotee should cling on to some default activities, actually. Some default activities, so that we are happy doing, is it not? No. So some default activities. So then in that case, these anger will not come. This is no. So so that means what? That okay, as a devotee, all of us are trying to increase our service to Krishna. But the point to note is that better one should keep what one has in the forefront and wait, for improvement. Wait for improvement. Rather than keeping what is about to come or what one wants to do extra as the focus and then land up into troublesome dealings. Does it make sense? Like say, that's the point. So like say for example, say if we are now we are allotted, okay, we can preach here in uh, 1/3 of Kharagpur. That is service is given to us, blessings are given to us. So if we remain within that, we can do anything. Is it not? Now we can do anything. Now if we say no, 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 I should, we should preach in say another place also. So then the idea may be very good, all desires may be very pure, but then that actually creates then lot of dependence is there, is it not? Then lot of dependence is there on various factors. Then that leads to expectations, and expectation not fulfilled may lead to anger and offensive behavior, fault finding, and other, is it not? So what one has should be at the focus. That therefore, for a sadhaka, his prime focus when the day starts is, let me do my japa very nice. And let me do my sadhana nice. Because that nobody can stop. I mean, nobody can take away that from us. Again. That's the point. Actually, so what we have should be a focus. What we have should be a focus. So, what we have should be a focus. Like that. So that can help us, save us from this trajectory of, or save us from landing into Krodha and the fault finding or offensive behavior. Let's read further. The word Tejas is here used is meant for Kshatriyas. The Kshatriya should be very strong to be able to give protection to the weak. They should not pose themselves as non-violent. If violence is required, they must exhibit it. But a person who is able to curb down his enemy may, under certain conditions, show forgiveness. He may excuse minor offenses. So Tejas is used for Kshatriyas. Saucam means cleanliness, not only in mind and body, but in one's dealings also. It is especially meant for the mercantile people who should not deal in the black market. Naiti Manita, not expecting honor, applies to Shudras, the worker class, which are considered, according to the Vedic injunctions, to be the lowest of the four classes. They should not be puffed up with unnecessary prestige or honor and should remain in their own status. It is the duty of the Shudras to offer respect to higher classes for the upkeep of the social order. So Tejas, one should be very strong to give protection to the weak. Yeah, this is true from the Varna point of view of Kshatriya, but but actually, strength is not just physical. Actually, you see that the point is that the strength is not very much physical. You know, physical strength is just one aspect of strength, is it not? So actually, every Varna is offering strength. They have their footing in something and they are offering strength in the other thing. So you see the point, because you see the strength, you see a Brahmana is having lot of mental strength. Why he is having a lot of mental strength? Because he has vision, and that vision is very strong. Therefore, a person can be very strong and sturdy. He can digest any situation. He can steer through any situation. So Brahmana can impart this strength to everyone, is it not? In that way, he can protect others. Vaishya is having financial strength, so he can offer and share that strength and make and strengthen others. And a Shudra is having strength of service, is it not? No, he's having strength of service. So he can serve everyone and in that way everyone feels a bit comfortable and feels a bit stronger, is it not like that? So this can be applied to strength. No, this can be applied to strength. Yeah. Yeah. And Naiti Manita is anyway is not just meant for Shudras, but it is meant for everybody. In fact, Kalyuga, everybody is a Shudra. So therefore there is a standard principle that one should respect all other classes of people. Then there is upkeep of the social order. So, and then Prabhupada is saying all these 26 qualities are transcendental qualities. They should be cultivated according to the different statuses of social and occupational order. So that's like, okay, what exactly to focus among them? All of them are very beautiful qualities. All of them are needed. Uh, but for different varnas, because different varnas, different psychophysical, working on those, few specific will lead to enhancement of all the qualities. That's why this mention is there. The purport is that even though material conditions are miserable, if these qualities are developed by practice by all classes of men, then gradually it is possible to rise to the highest platform of transcendental realization. So let us stop here. We'll continue further from 16.4 in our next class. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.